Welcome back to Investing with Confidence on this beautiful day. Every day is beautiful when you have the stock market around. Sponsored by Online Trading Academy. I am Josh Lilquist, and we are talking about the stock market. In the last segment, we were talking about futures, Forex, and a little bit of options, using leverage, being able to trade in 24-hour markets. And we had investing classes that a lot of people were texting in to get tickets for at our local academies. These are local classes. Now, I always ask people that come to these classes, what brought you into the center here to learn about this? And people always say this: I wanted a place to go to be able to see how this works, to be able to have hands-on training. And that's what we do at Online Trading Academy. Online training on the markets. We have tickets for an investing class. Text right now. Text the word investing to the number 210-210. That's text investing to the number 210-210 for 2 tickets and a quick start kit. In this kit, we have some free stuff. It's actually some free stock picks, so that way you can see how supply and demand works in the financial markets. So we did talk about futures and Forex in that last segment for income strategies, and really more for people that are still working and want to have that second source, as you're talking about, because that is actually how you build wealth, is having more than one source, having multiple sources of income. And that's why you need different strategies for that, futures, Forex, or options. But as I mentioned in that last segment, we have a lot of people that listen to the show here. I mean, thousands of people all across the country that are planning to retire. And they are thinking about, well, why do I retire? I don't want to do that because I don't want to do nothing. So people are actually looking at the market for 2 things. One, it's a good way to stay sharp, right? Because when you retire, you can't just do nothing. You can only watch so much Matlock and MASH and read so many books. But they also want an income strategy during that time to keep those golden years golden. What are some great ways to have income strategies during retirement, especially with options?
Well, let's first of all look at how people invest. And here's the bottom line. This is according to Dalbar, which is a big research firm. They look at the returns of the average investor compared to the pros, to the big money. And what they found over the last 20 years, the average equity investor, that's the public, earned an annualized return of 4.67%, while the S&P 500 returned 8.19% per year. Why is that? Why is there such a big difference there? Well, I think there's 3 things. Number one, they're using the wrong assets. And number 2, they're letting their emotions dictate what they do. And number 3, they're following the Wall Street go-to strategy, that buy and hold strategy, which is this. And this is how the people are taught. And you hear this continuously if you listen to the pundits on TV or you read some of the newsletters, which says that it's time in the market, not timing the market, that is important. Get in the market. It's time in. You're in this for the long term. Don't worry about the downturns in the market. Dollar cost average. Do all of those things. Well, the reason that people aren't as successful as the pros is that they spend too much time in the market not learning how to time the market.
And just to interrupt you there for a second, a lot of people probably were listening and actually saying those same terms because they've conditioned people for many, many years to do that.
Right. And by timing the market, what I'm talking about is finding the turning points. It's basically just finding where the institutions are trading. It's not, as Josh mentioned in that last segment, not following the fundamentals, not looking at the balance sheet of a company and all of the things that are on there. It's when is the price going to move? Who's going to move it? Why does it, not why it moves, but when is it going to move? And how to identify where that is going to happen. That's what we teach you. That's what our core strategy does. It is designed by people that worked on Wall Street, that know how that works, know how what we call order flow functions. We talk about supply and demand. That is just a fundamental law that can't be argued. If there's more demand for something, price goes up. More supply, price goes down. What we're talking about in the market is when there's more buyers, that's the demand. When there are more buyers or more buying orders, price goes up. The reverse happens when there's more supply or sellers, price is going to go down. So it's really imperative that you learn how to identify those. If the reason that people lost so much money in the year 2000 when the S&P was down 50%, in 2008 when it was down 57%, and in 2020 when the pandemic hit, is that they listened to the people that told them to stay in the market. Mm-hmm. And if you can identify the points when maybe it's best to take a profit. There's nothing wrong with taking a profit, but if you subscribe to the buy and hold strategy, you're kind of agreeing not to do that maybe for years. Well, maybe you need some additional money now in identifying an ideal target point, and that should be where the price is going to stop going in one direction and start going the other direction. You have to be able to identify that on a price chart, again, just simply using what the big institutions, what the smart money is showing us. We teach you on a price chart how to read that, because everything you need is there. Everything that is reflected in what's impacting the company is in the price that you look at.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I think a lot of people that are planning to retire, they can't afford to go through. I mean, the market's already down, so now is kind of a tough time to do that. But that's why you can't afford to just let it continue to go down. But also, when the income stops, you're going to eventually draw down those assets, whether it's a 401k or an IRA. So I've had a lot of people come into these classes say, I want to be able to learn how to make that last longer. And they say, I'm here for longevity,
right,
not just get rich quick. But longevity in the markets, you need a strategy that's designed to do that. And the Online Trading Academy, our sponsor, has a strategy designed to help people make smart investing decisions, especially during those retirement years or planning for that. So in these investing classes, they're about 2 hours. They're free. Text right now for 2 tickets. Text the word investing to the number 210-210. That's investing to the number 210-210. So Al, let's continue talking a little bit about this wealth strategy, because we talked about earlier, it takes multiple sources or extra income
right,
to fill a wealth bucket. And that's what a lot of people are striving to do, is have the opportunity to build that, to have enough and live those golden years of retirement. And that's really not what's happening. I asked everybody in the class last night, I said, do we have a retirement crisis? Do people struggle retiring and not having enough? And they're like, yeah, of course, it's kind of obvious. And I said, well, it's kind of obvious, but sometimes people don't know that. Well, it's because they don't have enough saved up. Because then what happens is they start to draw that down. Now, in your opinion, what do you think is the best asset? And I know you talk about this in the investing class, and you show different examples. I've seen it a few times. But just help our listeners understand, what's the best option people have if they don't have enough in retirement to really have that last longer?
Well, when you talk about longevity, and there's longevity in looking at that in 2 different ways. It's your longevity, how long you're going to live, and then how long is your retirement account going to live? Because the problem is, and this is the major fear of most people, is am I going to outlive my retirement accounts? Because what happens with most people is that whatever they have saved for retirement, then they just kind of then back off and just look at that as what they're going to live on. And they keep drawing it down, and it gets smaller and smaller. But the years that they have left, they're still there. And you want to make sure that your account, it grows with you. So how do you do that? Well, number one, you have to protect what you have, and we talk about that. We will show you the strategies that are available that the big institutions use that you're really not talked to about by Wall Street advisors. We show you what those are. But what about generating additional income? How do you do that? Because the income from your job is now gone. So how do you do that without just taking money out of your accounts? It's those short-term income strategies that we talked about. And I think that's the most important thing, is to learn how to generate income. And I think if there is one asset that probably is the most beneficial, it's probably options, because options give you the opportunity to have income, and you can decide how short or how long-term you're going to look at to generate that income or achieve that income. You can use it to protect what you have, but you can also use it to grow your accounts and grow the returns of a portfolio that you may not even have to sell.
Yeah, there's strategies for that.
Absolutely.
Yep. And just to kind of explain a little bit deeper real quick, I know we're getting close to the end of the segment here, but a lot of people think you have to invest all your money into that. So let's just say, as an example, an investor has let's just say $100,000. Let's just say an investor takes maybe 5 of that, or maybe 10, and use a leveraged asset, which gives them a multiple of what they actually have. So they have buying power, capital efficiency, and the rest of it's protected.
Right.
So it's kind of like 2 different buckets, and it's kind of hard to explain on the radio. That's why these investing classes, we're seeing so many people come to these at our local academies, and these are physical classes where we can show you how that's done, how to take 2 different pieces or different buckets of money. We always call it buckets.
Right.
But, people probably listen to the show every week, so they know what we're talking about. But different buckets of monies to have those different strategies, to have that more longevity in the markets. So text right now for 2 tickets. Text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 tickets for this investing class at our local academies. Text the word investing to the number 210. You got to do that right now because you're also going to receive the quick start kit. And this kit will help you get started right away. So if you're brand new to the markets or you've even been trading and investing for 20, 30, 40 years, this kit is for you. Coming up next, we got one more segment. We're going to talk more about how to use that smaller amount of capital, Al. I think a lot of people need to understand how to take smaller amounts of capital to have an income strategy at any time of their life. Text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 free tickets for our investing classes at Online Trading Academy. This is Josh and Al. We will be right back.